Well, that's sort of the idea, I guess. Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. Talk radio for the rest of us. With us is Mark Friedman. He is the Director of Labor Policy for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, uschamber.com, the website. Mark, I want to lay out another metaphor for you and see how far we can get with this one. And
well, is it possible to complete some of my thoughts from the previous segment?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, thank you. Let me just finish up the discussion about what happens under the card check scheme. And that is the organizers will present the cards to the employer, and if they've got the 51% and those signatures are verified, then the bill, as it's currently written, says that no election shall be held. And so
that is the election.
Well, that's not an election. That's a sign-up process, but it's not an election.
But it's immediately followed by an election for who's going to be the president of the union.
No, but it's not an election as to whether you have a union.
Right, because you already have but you have 51% of the people who work there saying, yes, I want a union. How can you not call that an election?
That's not an election. That's a petition process, and it's not the same as giving employees the opportunity to vote without someone standing over their shoulder. And I want to be clear about how this bill works, because I've heard the unions say that this only gives employees the choice. It does not give them any choices. It gives the union organizers the control, and the union organizers are never going to go for an election.
Well, it gives the employees a union. So here's the question. Are you registered to vote?
Oh, yes.
And do you realize that your registration is public?
Maybe. I haven't checked on it.
It's in every state, I believe. It's the law. It's
all right. If you want to go find out that I'm registered, you can find out that I'm registered.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to be combative here. I'm trying to make a point. I'm registered to vote as well. And when you and I registered to vote, we both decided that we wanted to be members of a participatory democratic republic, the United States of America. We wanted to be members of what is actually, I suppose, a bit of an elite, because we're a minority of American citizens as registered voters. We wanted to be part of the people who had some say in the process of this country. And, in fact, I'm registered as a Democrat. I'm guessing you're probably registered as an independent or Republican. And even that is a matter of public record. What's wrong with it being, with registration being public, when as soon as that 51% have registered to say, yes, I'd like to have a union, they then hold all the votes subsequent to that, all the votes that are held after that union happens, with 51% people have card check, just like you and I registered to vote here in the United States publicly, then we get to vote privately for who we want to have as president and vice president and everything else. And union members, 100% of the votes after the initial creation of the union, of who's going to be the president, what the contract, whether they're going to vote for a contract or not, what the rules are and the bylaws of that union are going to be, all those things, those are all private secret ballots. What's wrong with that?
Well, let me just start to break down your analogy. I would suggest that the act of registering to vote is the equivalent of being an employee in a population, in a bargaining unit, if you will, that is subject to organizing, and that the action of voting, as you and I do, in a private polling place where no one is telling us how to do it, no one is watching us do it, is what is necessary and what we have under the current secret ballot system. Now, I mean, let me ask you this. What broad policy measure or issue, or in the context of elections, as we we're just talking about, a tax levy, let's say, has ever been debated in a vacuum, with only one side having the opportunity to make their case without the other side making a responding case?
Well, there's nothing in this law that prevents a corporation from saying, please don't unionize, or if you do, here's what might happen.
Well, in fact, that's what would happen, because the whole notion of a card check organizing scheme is to be done outside of the employer's knowledge. It's all about staying a stealth organization and not giving the employer the opportunity to make their points.
But don't you think, though, that again, this is what we're going to go to, is what Canada has and what we had in the United States before Taft-Hartley in 1947. Don't you think that the companies are going to be right from the get-go saying, here's why we're opposed to unions? I mean, they are right now.
Well, companies should have the opportunity to express what they think is their interest.
But they do have that.
Well, but they
in fact,
won't
they have that far more than employees do.
In a card check organizing scheme, the first time a company may hear about it is when they're presented with the cards, and it's a done deal. That's not a fair debate. That's not a matter of giving both.
Well, it simply means that every company in America knows now that we have this law. Hey, you might get unionized, and so if they want to be, proactive and saying, please don't unionize here, they're welcome to do that.
I don't think that's a fair debate. I don't think that really sets up the issues at stake. There's no opportunity for an employer under a card check organizing scheme to respond to the misstatements or the characterizations that are being made of them by a union who's coming after their employees.
Well, once they have the union, they can certainly do that. There can always be a vote to decertify the union.
Oh, that's a cavalier attitude.
Well, no, it happens. It happened right here at the radio station.
Once the union comes in and messes it up, then the employees have the chance to get out of it. That's not it. That's not even a reasonable possibility, because then the unions will.
Okay, Mark, we're out of time, but great discussion. Thank you so much. USChamber.com, Mark Friedman.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-303-2270.